Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, today we are going to start a new chapter. This is the second chapter in our civics book, which is named as Diversity and Discrimination. A very important chapter and a very important concept to be understood by every one of us, as we live in a country in which we see various religions, people following different religions, various religions, they are from different creed, color, caste, races. So we have to understand how to live in a state where there are so many differences between us. How to live in a state where so many differences among us can lead to problems. When we don't accept each other's ideas, when we don't respect each other's ideas and differences. This will lead to consequences which will be very harsh for the whole state. So here we will try to understand what diversity is and what it leads to. It will lead to good things, it can lead to bad things. We here will try to understand that. Now, as far as diversity is concerned, it is derived from a Latin word, which is diversitas. And it means various or difference. Or we can also say variety. So, in literal meaning, when we discuss diversity, literally, linguistically, we come to know that it is derived from a Latin word, diversitas. It means variety, it means various, it means difference. Okay, then it later on was used in Old French and then it came into English language. So this is its linguistic meaning. Differences, variety, okay, various. Now technically when we see how can we define diversity, diversity, as here we can see in the second slide, it means being different in appearance, habits, festivals, and beliefs. This is its literal meaning. When we discuss diversity, literally, we said it's derived from a Latin word, which is diversitas. It means variety, it means various, it means difference. But when we describe diversity technically, we come to this conclusion that diversity means being different in appearance, habits, festivals, and beliefs. And there are many more. Races, language, okay, cultures, religions. So all these things in which an individual is different from other, it is diverse. So simply we can say diversity can be defined as the differences between us. Okay, so when we are different, this makes diversity. Even if we see in a class, we come from different families, we come from different localities, we come from different places, we then gather here in a classroom. So this classroom in which we gather together from different families, from different classes, from different societies, and we study here together as one, this is diversity. Because in this class, there are students, there are teachers who are from different localities, who are from different castes, different families, and who are from different classes, from different status. And still, they are here in one class, learning together. This is diversity. Now this is, we can say, the simple level of diversity. But here we have to discuss diversity in a state. And we live in India, so we are going to discuss India as a diverse state. India is a state in which there are different religions, in which there are different cultures, in which there are different languages spoken, in which there are people of different beliefs, ideas, philosophies, and they live in one state. What will it lead to? Will it be as it is in a classroom, that everyone learns together, or will it have any problem? That's what we are going to discuss. Now, before going there, we can see here this picture. If you can see, you will see boys and girls together, holding their hands. But in this picture, we can realize there is a lot of differences between them. They are different in their clothing. They are different in their appearances. They are different in their physical abilities. All these things which we can observe from this picture leads to diversity. Because all of them, each of them is different from one another. I'll give you a simple example. Physical abilities. There is an individual who is sitting on a wheelchair. So that means he is not capable of walking. So this is the difference between him and the others who are standing. Second difference which we can see, this boy here, he is wearing simple clothes. Well, not simple, but far more simple. He's only wearing an undershirt and underwear. So his boxers and his undershirt. He is only wearing his undergarments. So this signifies that he is not from a rich family. He is from a very poor family. Okay? And then those who you can see having good clothing, they can be said they are from rich family. Okay? So all these things which we can observe from this picture is diversity. It's due to diversity. It's due to differences that are between them. Now here, as I told you, we are going to study about India. India as a diverse country. We see that India is a land of many cultures, languages and traditions. As we know, India has 28 states. Each state having their own language, having their own culture, having their own festivals, having their own way of living. So these things, they make India a diverse country. Okay? Because people in India, they follow different religions. They are from different ideas. They are from different classes, castes. They are from different color. But they live in one state. Then, this makes India a diverse country, as I mentioned before. And now we can see diversity means being different. Now, it means being different in what? In everything. So, even if a person is different in a mindset, as we all are here in a classroom, each student has his own abilities, has his own way of understanding things. This is also diversity. But this is the basic level of diversity. Then we come to the higher level of diversity. We will see diversity between religion. One candidate, one person, one individual, he is from Islam. He is a Muslim. Another, he is a Hindu. He is following Hinduism. Another, he is following Sikhism. So all these differences between us, from our ideas to our beliefs, from our clothing to our festivals, this all leads to diversity. This all means that we live in a diverse country. Now, diversity adds. Now, this is a positive point of diversity, that it adds richness to our society, to our state. What does richness mean? That Now, we live in a state where all ideas, all festivals, all religions, all beliefs are respected and given equal rights. That is what richness means. And with it, each of us can learn from one another. We can understand each other's ideas, beliefs, cultures, and languages, and can learn positive points from it, and can learn good things from it, so that we individually can develop in a positive manner, in a good way. That is what richness means. We can say that in this society, where there is diversity and they are all accepted, they are all respected, they are not self-centered society. That society does not focus on only one religion. That society does not focus only on one idea, only on one class, one status, one religion, one language. But they focus, they understand, they respect each and every idea, concept, and religion equally. That is what diversity makes us learn, what diversity helps us in understanding. But there is a problem. The problem is, it leads to misunderstanding. If we don't understand diversity, if we don't respect each other's identical appearances, identical ideas, intellectual behaviors and ideas, then what will happen? There will be misunderstanding. People can be biased. This will lead to selfishness, self-centered ideas. Everyone will want to just prove that they are the one who are superior. Their idea, their religion, their status, their class, their language, their culture, they are superior than us. When this thing will hit our minds, then there will be misunderstanding and it will result in destruction of a society. So from this we understand what are the positive points and the negative points of balance. Now, we have another slide and another subtopic, which is prejudice. Now, what does prejudice mean? Prejudice can be defined simply as forming an opinion about a person without proper knowledge. Now, how can we understand prejudice? We can understand this idea that when we judge someone, we use a word for this, which is prejudgment. Prejudgment simply means when we judge someone before knowing that individual, before having any information, any knowledge about who that person is. This leads to misunderstanding. This leads to wrong judgment. So when we judge someone without knowing who that individual is, without having any information, any knowledge about that individual, this is called prejudice. So prejudging someone without having any information and knowledge is called prejudice. Clear? I hope it's clear. It's very easy to understand that when we judge someone before knowing who that person is. So for example, I am walking and I saw a person. Now when I saw that individual, I just assumed that this person should be a thief, or this person should be a wrong person. He should be addicted to some bad behavior. He should not be a good behavior individual. So when I say these things, when I assume, when I judge that individual on my own understanding, on my own knowledge and information, which does not have any base, that means prejudice. because I did not know that person. I didn't have any information, any knowledge, any factual information about who that person is. But I still judged him on what I thought that person could be. This is called prejudice. Now, another point. People may become prejudiced due to language, religion, caste, or appearance. So, how we prejudge an individual? We prejudge an individual by language, religion, caste, or appearance. As I mentioned here, I just saw a person and I prejudged that person due to his appearance, due to what I saw, but not having any factual information, not having any information or knowledge about who that person is. So likewise, this can happen through these ideas which are mentioned here, which is language, religion, caste, or appearance. So through these things, and many more, there are many more, through behavior, through we can say localities where a person lives. So these all things lead to prejudice. When we prejudge someone without having any information, and it can happen due to language, religion, caste, appearance, behavior, society, and etc. Many more. Then prejudice leads to unfair judgment. Now, as I mentioned, wrong judgment. So that means if I prejudice someone without having factual information, without having factual knowledge, I will come to a conclusion which will be completely based on what I think about that individual, not what justice is. Because justice is based on factual information. So when I have my own preconceptions, okay, when my mind is preoccupied with what I think about that individual or about that group, and this will lead to wrong judgment, not justice. So now we understand how harmful prejudice is. When we think about someone or a group without having any facts and any information, and this leads to unfair judgment, this leads to unjust injustice, this leads to unjust behavior towards those people. Then we will just say that what I think about that individual is correct, and whatever anyone else tells me is wrong. This happens due to this prejudice. Now, another thing that we have to understand. Again, this prejudice, why will this happen? Why will people be prejudiced? Because of diversity. So diversity leads to prejudice if we don't understand and accept the positive points and the, we can say, richness, the greatness, the intellectual development which diversity brings us. If we don't accept that, then what will happen? We, as humans, will destruct our own society due to our superiority complex, due to our, we can say, mind just focus on our own ideas and our own religions. Now, stereotypes. What does stereotype mean? Stereotypes are fixed ideas about a person or a group. In prejudice, you, an individual, for example, I or us, when we were thinking about another individual, we did not have any knowledge, we did not have any information, we just came up with conclusion without having any factual knowledge and information. But here, we have fixed ideas about a person or a group, which means we may have information and knowledge but we would apply them on everyone. Okay? We will have information, we will have knowledge, but either that's not factual, or if that is factual, we will just try to apply that information and knowledge to the whole group. So I will give you a simple example. Nowadays, we see that Muslims, there's a concept of Islamophobia. Islamophobia. What does that mean? Islamophobia. That world, they are afraid of Islam. Okay? They fear Islam. And the reasons are because of some terror attacks which have happened in the world. Muslims were involved in that. They were found involved in that. Okay? Now, due to this, whole religion, which is Islam, is being judged as the wrong religion. So, for example, if one Muslim who misunderstood some concepts of Islam, he did something wrong. On that, the whole Muslim community is judged. The whole Muslim community is judged. And this judging is called stereotype. Okay, I can give you another example. Okay, we'll try to understand it on our level. So, for example, I come in the classroom, okay, and I see a boy now shouting and doing something which is not appropriate, okay, in a classroom, which a student should not do. So, when I see that kid doing those irresponsible behavior, those irresponsible things, so I assume that the whole class is like this. Even though in the class there are very good students, they are well-mannered and well-behaved students, but still I judge the whole class on the information which I got just before I entered the class from one student, and I judged the whole classroom through that idea, through that information. This is together. Now I do not have knowledge about each and every individual, but I judge all of you on that one student. Now this is stereotype. So I fixed my ideas according to that student, which I saw doing something wrong. And then I judged the whole classroom, the whole group according to that. This is stereotype. Okay? Now, here we have a good example of stereotype. Girls are not good at sports. So we see girls, they are said to be very good in studying. They are said to be very good in being toppers of the class. Okay? But they are not said to be very good in sports. Likewise, boys, they are said to be very good in sports, but not as good in studying, learning, okay, in being toppers of the class. So this idea is stereotypical. This is stereotype. That we just think that now every boy in our society is good in sports. That's not correct. In the classroom, we see that some of you, they are very good in playing. Some are good in cricket, some are good in football, some are good in other sports. But not everyone among you is good in sports. We see some of the kids, they don't play at all. They just learn at that time or do something else. They want to go to art room. They want to just do some experiments. So this is different. But when I think that everyone among you is good in sports, everyone among you is good in playing cricket, football, and other sports, this is stereotype. Okay? And then I think that girls, they can't play at all, they are not good in sports. But now we see when you give them those equipments, those facilities, we see that girls, they are also good in sports. They can also win awards and other things while they play. But not every girl is good in sports. So we have to understand that not due to one individual, we can judge the whole group. Clear? This is stereotype. Now, why mostly stereotypes are harmful and untrue? As I said, that if I judge the whole community due to the act and information that I got from one individual, the result will be that I will try to understand the whole community is same. Community is same. This will be the result of my stereotype. Okay, so I will think no, girls are not good in sports, so I won't let any girl play any sport. And this will be inequality. This will be untrue because it's not true. As I said, that some girls are good in sports, some girls are good in studying. Likewise, some boys they are good in studying, and some boys are good in sports. So this is what we have to understand. Not everyone is good in everything, and we have to understand that. Okay, so this is harmful and untrue. But sometimes stereotypes, they can be true and they can be, we can say, helpful for others. Okay, isn't it? So that can also be the case sometimes. I can give you an example when we say boys are good in sports. Let's take the same example, boys are good in sports. So those boys who are good in sports, they get more and more support from their family and from the people who are around them. So that is a good thing about it. But overall, stereotypes have problems. Okay? They have made society very biased. Okay? As we can see in this picture, that we just think about what we just presume due to the information that we got from one or two individuals. That's it. And due to that, we see that others, they are treated unequally. And due to this inequality, it is promoted in the society. Now, I hope you're understanding this. We have another topic. Well, this is the main topic actually, which is discrimination. We understood diversity before this, didn't we? Now what diversity means. Now we have to understand what discrimination means, isn't it? So discrimination, it's also derived from a Latin word. Linguistically, when we define discrimination, it's also derived from a Latin word which is discriminare. Discriminare. Discriminare means separation. Okay? Discrimination means separation. To separate. Okay? Or we can write to separate. To divide. Now, this is its linguistic meaning. We have already, when we started studying SST, social studies, we have already discussed what linguistic means, what technical means. So, linguistically, we know that it is derived from a Latin word which means discriminare, which in English means separation, to separate, or to divide. Now, technically, discrimination, it means when we separate, when we divide on the basis of religion, caste, color, status, class, and we treat them unequally. Okay? So technically we can say discrimination means separating or dividing, separating people or individuals on the basis of caste, color, class. Class means status. Class, caste, color, class, religion, ideas, etc. Okay, so means this discrimination, it means technically, it means separating people on the basis of caste, color, class, religions, etc. and treating them unequally. Now let's try to understand it with an example. So in our society, this is very easy to understand when we just observe our society. We see rich people, they are respected, they are praised everywhere in the society. Okay? Everyone praises them, everyone respects them. Why? Because they are rich, they have money. But poor people who don't have enough money, who are not rich, you see, they are not respected. They are not given any respect. They are not, praised. You won't see any poor person being invited to, nowadays we have these podcasts. You won't see any poor person in the podcast. You'll see only rich people who have achieved something in their lives. So, when we understand these things, that poor person, he has no respect, he is not getting any praise from others, that means that person is not treated as the rich person. The rich person is respected. Okay? He's invited. Come, please, be our guest. Tell us how you achieve these things. And a poor person, he has no respect. Nothing. Why? Because he has not achieved anything. But on what basis? On the basis of money. So when we say that there is discrimination, that there is separation between two classes on the basis of money, this is discrimination. Rich person respected, praised by everyone, and the poor person not respected, not praised. Rich people, they believe that poor people are there to serve them, and they themselves are there to enjoy, to have every fun that they can. See, this is discrimination on the basis of class. Now, discrimination on the basis of color. We have black and white. Very famous discrimination. Apartheid struggle in South Africa. Okay? White people, they have this idea that we are superior and black people are not superior. They have to serve us. Okay? So this discrimination, this separation and unequal treatment to the other group, okay, is discrimination. Okay? Likewise, caste in India. Coming back to India. In Hinduism, we see there were 4 castes. We haven't discussed them yet, but we'll discuss them in future, inshallah. Here, we'll just try to understand there were 4 castes in Hinduism. Okay? This system is called Varna system. And in it, at the top there are Brahmins, and at the bottom there are Shudras, who were later on known as Dalits, untouchables. They were not also respected. Why? Because they are not at the top of that hierarchy. Okay? Their jobs were sweepers. They were cleaners. They used to clean. Okay? Due to their jobs and due to them being in the bottom of the hierarchy, they were not respected by other groups of that hierarchy table, which is Brahmins, which were Brahmans, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. So these Shudras, who later on came to be known as Dalits and untouchables, they were not getting any respect, any value, any invitation from others. They were just disrespected as they were slaves. They were not even touched. That's why they were later on also called as untouchables. So this all that we discussed until now, this is discrimination. That when we separate people on the basis of caste, color, class, religions, etc., and treat them unequally. And treat them unequally. Okay? So this is discrimination. Now, discrimination happens when prejudice leads to unequal treatment. Okay? When we have prejudge. Okay? As we said, prejudice. It's prejudging. Okay? This will lead to unequal treatment when I came in the classroom and I have thought in my own mind when we take discrimination through prejudice, not right now, not through stereotype, through prejudice, that I have already thought that this class is the worst class. So my behavior in the class will be different. I'll be strict. Okay? I'll show my that side to the students so that they won't do anything ridiculous in the class. Why? Because I have pre-thought that these students, they are not good. And due to this, there will be unequal treatment. I don't behave with them with any lenience. I'll have strictness. This is unequal treatment. We can have other examples of Muslims, when how we are treated. Nowadays, there are some, they have made some videos, some comedy videos I have seen. On that, we are saying that, you play, I don't know, do you play that game or not? Sparrow, they just keep their fingers down and then say, sparrow fly, okay, cow flies, okay. So if you have to only raise a finger on the animal or the thing which flies. So you can't raise a finger on the thing which does not fly. So they sometimes say house flies, okay, but house does not fly. And then the one who has raised the finger, they ask him, well, why haven't you raised your finger, house does not fly? So he says, no, why would it fly? But they say in Urdu, they say, Bhaijan, kaise nahi ulega? That kind of, not this Bhaijan, kaise nahi ulega? Why Bhaijan? Why not Mitro? Okay, so Bhaijan, as you know, we Muslims, especially who talk in Urdu, they use this word Bhaijan. Okay, and Urdu is very famous within Muslim communities, especially in Indian subcontinent. Okay, so due to that idea that 1, 2, 3, 4 Muslims, they just misunderstood some concepts of Islam and then they did something which is wrong. Due to that, the concept has arisen that Muslims, they are dangerous. So they will just blast everything. They will just bomb everything. Due to that, now these ideas have been arising among common people. Okay? So this leads to unequal treatment. Now every Muslim will be treated like that. This is the problem. Those Muslims who did wrong, they should be punished. They should be given their punishment. They should be given, treated accordingly. But those Muslims who had nothing to do with it, why are they treated in that way? Why are they not given equal rights as people of other religions? Now, another point. People may face discrimination based on caste, religion, money, or language. So, we have mentioned here caste, color, class. In class, we mentioned money. So, on these things, we see discrimination is seen. Or people, they face discrimination on these basis. Now, discrimination harms society and individuals. If we talk about the apartheid system, apartheid struggle in South Africa, blacks, they were ill-treated. They were treated by whites as they were tools for them to be used. They were treated by whites as slaves. And this led to their inferiority complex. Every black person, he thought, or she thought, that I have been born to serve white people. And this made them live a life of horror, in which they were only getting hurt again and again. So this harms the society. We see the South African society, they are haunted by the memories of the past, which happened to them during the rule of white people on them. Then individuals, it hurts individuals. Okay, now for example, if I treat a student here, not according to his behavior, but according to what I think he is. Okay, I'll just try to shout at him. I'll try to just, someone else is doing something wrong, but I go to that student and just punish him for doing nothing at all. But I just thought that this is the boy who is doing it. So this will harm his mentality because he has done nothing. And he is not able to prove himself, that he has done nothing wrong. Due to my behavior, what will happen? His mental health will get affected. So we see that discrimination, it harms society and individuals. Here we have the picture. If you can see that these two boys, they are doing something, they are pushing this boy. So now this boy, he will think, why am I the only one who's being treated like this? And why are these two just ganging up against him? Okay, so this will affect his mental health. Likewise, when two groups, they are treated unequally, okay, whites are given more rights, blacks are not given those many rights, so they will think what is wrong with us. Likewise, other groups, okay, in the society, physically disabled and physically fit, they are not treated equally, or they are not given enough rights to just be on the equal level. This will lead to harmful problems in the society. This will lead to those problems in the society which will lead in the destruction of the society in coming days. Now, we have inequality and discrimination. As I mentioned discrimination before, it is inequality. It leads to inequality. When you are discriminating someone, that means you are unequally treating that individual or that group. Now, inequality occurs when resources and opportunities are not shared equally. Now, let's take discrimination on the basis of money. Okay, on the basis of class. You will see rich people, they have access to everything in the society. And poor people, they don't have access to everything in the society. If we talk about education, let's only talk about education. Because we are here, we are getting educated, we are learning, me, you, everyone. Okay? So, let's talk about education. Rich people, they get education from top universities. Okay? And they can spend as much money as they want, and they can learn from the best technologies of the present time. But when we see poor people, they do not have any access to any present technologies. They do not have access to any, top universities of the world because of the lack of resources due to money. Okay, and they won't get any opportunities. Why would a poor man, his son, or his daughter get an opportunity in a top university? Because they are not known. But when they are son of a rich person, for example, A is a rich person, he is well known, the university, and then the university will approach him. But we want your son to study that. This is inequality on the basis of lack of resources, and then when you have lack of resources, this will lead to lack of opportunities. You won't get money and opportunities. Same happens when there is discrimination on the basis of color. White people, they used to get money opportunities, they used to get more resources than black people. Okay? Why? Because black people, they were not thought to be equal to white people. Okay, now, people from poor backgrounds often have fewer opportunities. Isn't it? This is true. That people from poor backgrounds, as I mentioned before, we just took the example of education. That's why nowadays you can see in India, there are policies for them. For these people to get equal opportunities. That's why when there are competitive exams, there are reserved seats. For these people. Now these reserved seats are on different basis. Some have some are based on cost, some are based on other things. So they get some reserved seats in which only students of those categories have to compete with each other. Okay? And they have to get less marks than the open merit students. So this is done to give equal opportunities to everyone. But we also see that nowadays it has led to inequality again. Now the open merit students, they are getting very less seats because they are very large at number. So they have to get, that much seats that I won't say suffice, but that should be good enough for everyone so that they will love to compete. But because of this thing, these policies, now open merits are suffering nowadays. That's why you see there are now some, it's the cases, I think recently there was this case in the court. I don't know what happened to that, but these things, they have now led to another inequality. Now the open merits are getting treated unequally, and the reserved ones are getting, more and more opportunities. But still, this started because there were no rights, no equal opportunities for everyone in Indian society. Okay, now another point. Inequality leads to discrimination. So whenever there is inequality, it will lead to discrimination. It will lead to discrimination, meaning that there will be separation and they will be treated unequally. They will be treated in a way that the other group, that the other individual will have to suffer. Okay, now the caste system. Now here we'll discuss about caste system. Mainly in India, when talking about India, because we live in India, so the main thing is to focus on our country first, on our state first. The main problem in India was the discrimination and unequal treatment of people on the basis of caste system. I have mentioned it before when we discussed about Shudras. Okay, so caste system divided people into groups based on birth. Due to the place of birth, there was caste system. As I mentioned, so a person who was born in Shudra family, he was treated as that. He was treated unequally. And a person, an individual, a kid, a boy or a girl who was born in Brahman family, who was born in Kshatriya family, those were treated and respected. They were treated in a respectful way. They were respected and given, every right that they know that a human deserves. Okay. Now, lower caste groups faced discrimination and were denied equal rights. As I mentioned, Brahmins, let's say Brahmins B, Shudras S, they were not treated equally. They were treated unequally. So Brahmins, they got education, they are called the scholars of Hinduism, and these Shudras, they had no education. Okay? And E, no education. Okay? They had no equal opportunities. They could not even touch a Brahman or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya. And if they by accident did that, these people who were Brahmins, who were Kshatriyas, who were Vaishyas, they used to bathe themselves by Ganga water. Okay? They call it Ganga Jal in India. Okay? So that they could clean themselves from what they thought is, the touch which was from these castes which they thought were not equal to them. Okay? The system created deep social inequalities. These are still found in India. Even though there are rights, Constitution has given equal opportunities, equal rights to everyone, but still in those areas where information does not reach to the government, we see that these social inequalities still exist. Even though the government is working, even though we have a constitution which has already given every one of us equal rights and opportunities. Now, struggles against discrimination. As I mentioned, We have now we have those rights. Now we have those we can say uh, government is working on it. We have constitution which guides government how to work on it, what to do and what not to do. But still, there are struggles against discrimination. What are they? Many reformers fought against discrimination. Okay, it started even we can say in British rule when India was under British rule, when it was a colony of British. We'll discuss it in further classes. Here, what I have to say is that time from 1820s, we see there was reformation in Hinduism. There were personalities like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and others who tried to abolish some systems which were harmful for women, and they tried to later on when we see other reformists came, in which we have the father of constitution, Indian constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He also tried to convince everyone that we are actually equal. There is nothing like this concept which is that we are not equal on the basis of birth. So it does not mean if someone is a Brahman or a Shudra. We all are humans and we should be treated like that. So they fought against it. Okay, and that's why right now in India you will see constitution when you will study the constitution of India, you will see that in the preamble it's mentioned that everyone will be given equal rights. Everyone will be given equal opportunities. Everyone has right to education. Okay, so these things they were done when reformists, those who tried to change Indian society, they fought against discrimination and inequality. They encouraged equality and respect for all. Okay, they tried to convince everyone that we are human and we should be treated like that. Now, they promoted education and equal opportunities. Equal education, everyone should be able to get education, everyone should be able to be knowledgeable, and with that, everyone should get equal opportunities. That means there should be no inequality when it comes to opportunities. Still, there is, but the Constitution does not mention. The Constitution says everyone should get equal opportunities. Even though there is still, because that is what government is struggling with. That's what we people are struggling with. But it is not as it used to be 100 years ago. From that, it has developed in a far better. That's what difference we have to do. So, what did they do? They promoted equal education for everyone and equal opportunities for everyone. That's why you see that there are seats and they are reserved for these categories who not even being able to get any opportunity. Okay, and they were discriminated in the system. Okay, so they are getting their reserved seats. They are getting equal opportunities from these new reformations. Now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, as I mentioned before, he is called the father of Indian Constitution, and the best thing, why he is very important, because he was himself from a Dalit caste. And in Dalits, in Hinduism, Brahmins, they have different castes. Kshatriyas, they have different castes. Likewise, Dalits have different castes. And in Dalit, the top caste, which is in the top hierarchy in Dalits, that is Mahar caste. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was in that. And he writes about his story, how he was treated when he was a child. Because as a Dalit, he found that inequality. He felt that ill treatment from other classes, from other groups, from people who belong to other classes of his religion. How they treated him and his family, and people who were belonging to Dalit category, to Dalit class. So you can read it in this chapter, which is mentioned in the book. I hope you will go through that. That's a very good story. Okay. Now, Ambedkar faced discrimination as a child. This is what he mentions. Okay, that's why then you try, when you face something wrong, when you see something wrong is going on with you, you will try to finish it. And you will not want that others should suffer in the same way as you have suffered. So same happened with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. What he suffered, he did not want others to suffer in the same way. So when he was discriminated, when he was treated unequally, he tried to stop it. Okay, he tried to make it fair and equal for everyone who will come after him. So he became a great leader and fought against caste injustice. Okay, he fought against caste injustice. He started talking about it. He started, claiming that as a human, he also has equal rights. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Bhimrao Ambedkar, he helped in drafting India's constitution, which is the guiding light for Indian government. So what did he do? He drafted that constitution which promotes equality. Okay, he was the chairman of that committee which drafted Indian constitution. That's why B.R. Ambedkar is called father of Indian constitution. Okay, so these are his works through which he tried to, we can say, eradicate inequality and discrimination. Now, equality in the constitution. How equality is mentioned in the constitution? If you can see the picture here, let me just make it fine. If you can see the picture here, this one, the people, it is the preamble. It says, it's the front page in which we get the idea of what the Constitution of India is all about. So it mentions the people of India have solemnly resolved to constitute India a sovereign democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens. Now, simply it means that India will become a state where every religion, every idea, every caste will be treated equally and they will be respected. There will be no harm to any religion, any caste, any language, any individuality. That is what it mentions. Then we have justice, we have liberty, equality, fraternity, and these ideas to which Indian Constitution mentions that everyone will get equal opportunities, equal rights, and they will develop in equal way. That there will be no differences in the development in Indian state on the basis of discrimination and inequality. Now, the Constitution of India, it guarantees equality for all citizens. That means every citizen in India, every Indian should be treated equally. No matter from which caste, from which color, from which creed he is, he will be treated equally. Okay, then no discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, gender, or belief. So, as we mentioned, why discrimination used to happen? It used to happen on these things. And now, Constitution of India, it mentions that there should be no discrimination on these bases, which is religion, caste, language, culture, ideas. So there should be no discrimination on these bases. Everyone should be respected equally. Everyone has equal access to schools, wealth, roads, and public places. So whatever belongs to the government, it will be provided equally to everyone. That means there will be no rich and poor in it. Okay, everyone will get equal access to these facilities. So these changes happened when equality was mentioned in Indian Constitution. Okay, now the conclusion. So from this chapter, what did we understand? Simply, that is how we will conclude it. Diversity should be respected and celebrated without any doubt. If we don't accept diversity, then we won't develop with diversity. Then it will be misunderstood and it will lead to unequal distribution of everything and eventually in the destruction of Indian society or any society which has diversity. So if we have to live peacefully with harmony and develop equally, so what we have to do while we live in a diverse country, while we live in a diverse state, we have to respect and celebrate diversity. That means every religion, every individual, every idea should be treated, respected equally. No religion, no idea should be given any importance or any special status. Clear? Now, prejudice, stereotypes, and discrimination, they harm the society. This is what we understood. They are harmful for the society. If we follow the idea of prejudice, if we follow stereotypical ideas and we discriminate on the basis of caste, color, money, religion, it will only lead to destruction. It will only lead to misinterpretation, misinterpreting and misunderstanding of everything in the society. And the final thing that we understood is equality and fairness create a better and united nation. Okay, this is the best point which I can say of this chapter, which is equality and fairness. That means everyone should be treated equally and everyone should get fair opportunities. There should be no first and no second. Everyone, according to their abilities, according to their hard work, should get equal rights. And so that they can create a better and united nation. Everyone with their hard work, with their abilities, while they get equal opportunities, will create a better and a nation which is united and together. So the nation will develop together. Everyone in the nation will develop, will flourish united. So this was our chapter, which was diversity and discrimination. I hope you got it. Thank you. Fi amanillah.